गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यनो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतः
प्रीतः
याम्
अनयत्
ग्रहः
ग्रहः
प्रीतो याम् अनयत् ग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
अनयाराधितो नूनं
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतो याम् अनयत् ग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
अनयाराधितो नूनं
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
अनयाराधितो नूनं
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
अनयाराधितो नूनं
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतो यामनयग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः अनयाराधितो नूनं भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
अनयाराधितो नूनम्
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
भगवान् हरिरीश्वरः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
यन्नो विहाय गोविन्दः
तोयम् अनयग्रहः
प्रीतो यामनयत् ग्रहः
What word meaning? Anaya
अनया
by her.
by her
Aradhitaha
आराधितः
worship.
worship
Noonam
नूनं
indeed.
indeed
Bhagavan
भगवान्
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
supreme personality of Godhead
Harihi
हरिः
Krishna.
Krishna
Ishvaraha
ईश्वरः
Lord.
Lord.
Yat
Yat
from which
which
Naha
Naha
us.
us
Vihaya
Vihaya
rejecting.
Rejecting.
Govindaha
गोविन्दः
Lord Shri Krishna.
Lord Shri Krishna
Pritaha
प्रीतः
satisfied.
Satisfied.
Yam
Yam
whom
whom
Anayat
Anayat
brought. Rahaha
Rahaha
a secular place.
secluded place.
Translation and Prabhupada is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the gopis began to talk amongst themselves, they said, "Dear friends, the gopi who has been taken away by Krishna to a secluded place must have worshipped the Lord more than anyone else." Translation, interpretation. When the gopis began
When the gopis began
to talk among themselves,
to talk among themselves
they said,
they said,
"Dear friends,
dear friends
the gopi who has been taken away
the gopi who has been taken away
by Krishna
by Krishna
to a secluded place
to a secluded place
must have worshipped the Lord
must have worshipped the Lord
more than anyone else."
more than anyone else.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The name Radha is derived from this verse, Bhagavatam 10.30.28. From the words Anayaradhitaha, meaning by her the Lord is worshipped. Sometimes the critics of Srimad Bhagavatam find it difficult to find Radharani's holy name. But the secret is disclosed here in the word Aradhitaha, from which the name Radha has come. Of course, the name of Radharani is directly mentioned in other Puranas. This Gopi's worship of Krishna is topmost, and therefore her name is Radha, or the topmost worshipper. Thus ends the translation of the Vedanta Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaurabhaktavanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a word from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 30th chapter, where there is description about Krishna's hiding from the gopis. And in that section, this verse is described, and this verse is Anaya Aradita. So, by her, someone is worshipped. And who is that is being worshipped? Bhagavan Hari Ishvaraha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is being worshipped by her. Anaya Aradita. And now, here, this is being discussed by the gopis. They were actually discussing amongst themselves that after the rasa dance, suddenly they saw that Krishna has disappeared from that arena. So they were actually looking for Krishna everywhere, and they were trying to find where is Krishna. So in that context, we will discuss the context a little later in more detail. So in that context, the gopis are discussing that their friends, the gopi who has been taken away by Krishna. So Raha, secluded place. So Krishna has taken a gopi to a secluded place. And why did Krishna take only one gopi? So they are saying, she must have worshipped the Lord more than anyone else. So this is the verse where Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the word Radha is coming from Araditaha. So the word that is used in this verse, Anaya Araditaha. So it is from this word Araditaha that the name of Srimati Radharani has come. And therefore Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that sometimes atheistic class of men, or even some not so well knowledgeable scriptures, they think that there is no mention of the name of Radharani. But Prabhupada is saying it's not the case. It is sometimes the critics find it difficult to find Radharani's holy name, but the secret is disclosed here in the word Aradhita, from which the word Radha has come. So there are other Puranas where the name of Srimati Radharani is explicitly mentioned, and so today happens to be the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. She is the eternal consort of Lord Shri Krishna, and it is a very auspicious festival. And Srila Prabhupada, the very beginning of ISKCON, starting 1968, Prabhupada gave lectures on Sri Radhastami, which are recorded. So Prabhupada has established a very nice system for all the festivals. So Prabhupada would say that we should hear the glories of the personalities of whose appearance and disappearance we are celebrating. And therefore Prabhupada arranged a class to talk about Srimati Radharani, and they had festivities that day. So this has a system that Prabhupada wants all of us to hear the glories of the personalities, the lordships, acharyas, whose appearance and disappearance days when they come. So it is very important that as we see when the appearance of Lord Krishna, Janma Karma Chame Devyam, the appearance and the activities of Lord Shri Krishna is all transcendental. And so are the qualities and the activities and the appearance of the expansions of Krishna are also transcendental. So just like by understanding the appearance and the activities of Lord Krishna, one does not take birth again the material birth. Similarly, we can see that the appearance of Srimati Radharani is also very, very unique. It is not ordinary. Just like Krishna, when he appears in a very unique way. not like one of us. Similarly, Srimati Radharani has not appeared from the womb of another human being. In fact, he said that Vrishabhanu, he was ploughing in the field, and there he sees a small child being floated on a lotus. And he picks her up because they did not have children, Kirtida and Vrishabhanu. So he takes a child and goes to the queen and presents her that, oh, here is a child, and because they do not have a child, so they raise her. So it is not that the appearance is ordinary. And as we know that Krishna as king never comes alone, he comes with his paraphernalia, he comes with his associates. Similarly, when Lord Krishna appears, he also comes with his pleasure potency. So in this case, Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency of Lord Shri Krishna. So Krishna is full of potencies. Parasya Shakti Vividaya Shrive. He has innumerable potencies, but he has one unique potency called the pleasure potency. Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna is Parabrahman. He is the supreme absolute truth. He is all spiritual. Now, he can do anything and everything. He does not have to do anything personal. He can get everything done. Just like we said, Prabhupada used the example of a big king or a big politician. He will have so many associates, so many secretaries, that as soon as he wants something, those things will be done. So similarly, Krishna, he can do everything done simply by his desire. He doesn't have to do anything. The creation, the manifestation, the maintenance, everything can take place. Killing of the demons, he doesn't have to do anything personal. Simply by the one stroke of material nature, Prabhupada says that all the demons can be killed. By his time factor, everyone is killed anyways. So he doesn't have to personally do any of these things. So what is that unique thing that is so special about Supreme Lord? He always enacts wonderful pastimes, and so he enacts his pastimes, so he is Atma Rama, he is all completely satisfied. But he expands himself into his pleasure potency to exchange the sweet pastimes. He exchanges, where can he find pleasure? He has to find pleasure in his own self. But he expands himself as Srimati Radharani, and in exchange in performing various pastimes of Srimati Radharani, he takes pleasure. Because he cannot take pleasure in anything which is mundane, material. Prabhupada says, even the yogis, they do not like to take any pleasure in the material senses, in the material things. And therefore Prabhupada mentions that even common yogis, they took great tapasya. They do a lot of endeavors so that they escape this desire, this urge to enjoy material things or find happiness in matter. To overcome that, they go to forests, they do various tapasyas, they do various asanas, so that they gradually evolve to the place where they can attain Brahma Saukhyam, where at least they find happiness in Brahman, away from what is material. So even the yogis, the non-yogis are not so satisfied with mundane pleasure. How can the Supreme Lord can be satisfied with mundane pleasure? So he cannot be satisfied with anything mundane. So he expands himself as Srimati Radharani, and whose his pleasure potency. So Krishna is energetic and Srimati Radharani is the energy. So Srila Prabhupada explains about the position of Srimati Radharani as the topmost gopi, as the topmost servant of the Lord. In fact, it is mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada talks about Srimati Radharani and her glories. So actually Prabhupada says that everyone has to follow in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani. If one wants to do devotional service, one has to follow the footsteps of Srimati Radharani. Because she's a topmost devotee of the Lord. And in Vrindavan, everyone follows in her footsteps. In fact, in one of the prayers it is said about the spiritual master is that he is always in the presence of Srimati Radharani and always serving. So the position of a pure devotee is not ordinary. So unless we do not follow in the footsteps, to follow in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani means to follow in the footsteps of pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes people try to understand these transcendental subject matters directly, but it is not possible. Unless we don't follow the footsteps of the Acharyas, we cannot understand the transcendental nature of these eternal pastimes, the position of Srimati Radharani. So, Srila Prabhupada explained that how we should worship Radha and Krishna and how we should progress to that level so that we can worship appropriately. In fact, Prabhupada says that the worship of Sri Radha and Krishna is not for ordinary people, it is not for neophyte people. And therefore, Prabhupada says that for ordinary man, worship of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu or the Panchatattva is easier than the worship of Radha and Krishna. So, unless one is very fortunate, one should not be induced to worship Radha and Krishna directly. So, it is not that anyone can worship directly. But Srila Prabhupada is very, very merciful. And Prabhupada writes, a neophyte student who is not sufficiently educated or enlightened should not indulge in the worship of Radha and Krishna or the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Even if he does so, he cannot get the desired result. One therefore chant the names of Nitai, Gaura and worship them without false prestige. So Prabhupada is mentioning in this in Nectar of Devotion that one should actually first seek the favor of God Nitai, Guru and Gauranga, and one must, by their blessings, learn, first of all, one must learn to worship God Nitai without false prestige. And when one is further advanced, as one is chanting, worshipping God Nitai, then one very soon, despite all these qualifications, one will very soon become qualified to worship Radha Krishna Vigraha. So it is not an ordinary thing that one gets an opportunity to worship Radha and Krishna. And it is not a random thing. And therefore it is very important that only when we go through the system of disciple succession under the guidance of a pure devotee, one will actually come to know how to worship Srimati Radharani or how to worship Radha and Krishna. And further Prabhupada says that Srimati Radharani is a source of spiritual inspiration. So to do anything, we need inspiration. And especially it is said that, especially in Vrindavan, all the devotees are inspired by the spiritual inspiration coming from Srimati Radharani. And therefore always they are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. So without spiritual inspiration, we cannot do any spiritual activities. And therefore, worshipping Srimati Radharani is very, very important because she is the source of spiritual inspiration. And Prabhupada says that one of the very special quality of Srimati Radharani is she is very, very compassionate. She is very, very compassionate. And therefore, she wants everyone to serve Krishna. She not only serves the best, but she also wants everyone to be engaged in service of the Lord. And therefore, when one gets the mercy of Srimati Radharani, it is possible to worship Lord Krishna. And therefore, Prabhupada says, in Vrindavan, everyone first worships Radharani by saying Jai Radhe, Radhe Radhe. They always chant the names of Srimati Radharani so that they may get the blessings of Srimati Radharani by which she, by her petition, Prabhupada says, Radharani, Krishna is yours. So if you recommend me to Krishna, then Krishna may glance at me. So we have a petition to Srimati Radharani so that she may bestow her mercy upon us. So therefore, in Vrindavan, everyone chants the name of Srimati Radharani. And as we know, in Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the word Hare is referring to Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of the Lord. So without chanting Hare or without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, it's not possible to approach Krishna. And therefore this is very important. And Prabhupada says, Hare, Hara, this word is Radharani. So Radha or Hara, the same thing. So Hare Krishna, we are praying to Radharani, my mother, Radharani and Krishna. So unless we do not get the favor of Srimati Radharani, we cannot get the blessings, we cannot approach the Lord. My dear Lord, and the energy, the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. That's all. So that is what we are chanting every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, we are actually petitioning Srimati Radharani and asking to engage us in the service of Lord Krishna. So, as it is also said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikrite Haladini Shakti Asma. So, Haladini Shakti. So, her only business is to give pleasure to Krishna. She has no other business. She's always engaged in giving pleasure, newer and newer kinds of pleasure to Krishna. And so if Srimati Radharani is pleased, Prabhupada says, so to glorify Srimati Radharani is so important. And if Srimati Radharani is pleased, one will be able to approach Krishna very easily, and that is our goal of life. And she is described as in this verse that we were talking about, the gopis were actually discussing this when Krishna suddenly disappeared from the company of the gopis. They began to search for him in different places. And after they could not find him, they extremely became mad. And they were thinking of only the pastimes of Krishna. This is one of the important things that we'll notice, that gopis are constantly always thinking, always absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. And even though Krishna is not visible, they are just constantly immersed, absorbed in the thought of Krishna. And they began to talk amongst themselves. In fact, they began, Prabhupada writes here, that being so attracted to Krishna, they began to imitate his dancing, his walking, smiling, as if they themselves were Krishna. Due to Krishna's absence, they all became crazy. Each one of them began to tell the others that she was Krishna himself. So in this way, they were lost trying to figure out Krishna. They were not able to understand what is what, and they were thinking the other gopis Krishna, and they were smiling, some of them were dancing like Krishna, and so on and so forth. So here, now the gopis start questioning. They start the trees and plants, they go to the plants and trees and question, did you see the son of Nanda Maharaj? Did you see him laughing and playing the flute? Did he go this way? Did he go that way? And then they go to the tree, the Ashoka tree, the Naga flower, Champaka flower. Have you seen the younger brother of Balarama pass this way? So they were looking around and they were saying, because of our pride, he has disappeared. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? And in this way, they were kind of looking around. They go to the Tulsi plant, Malati flower. You are very much beloved by Lord Krishna because your leaves are always at his feet. Have you seen Krishna? So in this way, they are addressing, going around the forest, and they are asking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So, and eventually they also ask the Mother Earth, how many penances and austerities you must have undergone to be now living with the footprints of Lord Krishna upon you. And so they ask, have you seen Krishna? So in this way, they start asking the different trees, plants, creepers, and so on and so forth, then they could, after searching throughout the forest, they could not find. And they were kind of enacting various pastimes of Lord Krishna. Someone is enacting the pastime of the Putana being killed. Someone is enacting the pastime of the cart being broken, and so on and so forth. So in this way, the gopis were absorbed doing various things, and they were feeling the absence of Lord Krishna. But then suddenly, what happens is that they found the footprints of Lord Krishna on the ground. In some places, they found the imprints or the marks on the sole of his feet, namely the flag, the lotus flower, the trident, the thunderbolt, etc. After seeing those footprints, they exclaimed, "Oh, here is the impression of the marks on the soul of Krishna. All the marks, such as the flag, the lotus flower, the trident, and the thunderbolt, are distinctly visible here." So suddenly they could see, and their life comes back. They become very joyful. They see that, oh, there are footprints here. So they start following the footprints, and they start noticing where are they leading. But then suddenly they see that there are some other footprints next to the footprints of Lord Krishna. So then they question, whose are these other footprints? They are beside the footprints of the son of Nanda Maharaj. It is certainly Krishna passing through, resting his hand on some other gopi. Exactly like an elephant goes side by side with his beloved mate. We must therefore understand that this particular gopi served Krishna with greater affectionate love than ourselves. So it is in this context that this verse is being spoken, where the gopis were searching and they could see that only there is one gopi's footprints next to Krishna, and they all are thinking that this gopi must have served the most, the highest, and therefore she is able to go with Krishna and we are not able to go. So because of this, although he has left us, he could not leave her company. He has taken her along with him. Dear friends, just imagine how the dust of this place is transcendently glorious. So it is said that the dust from the feet of Lord Krishna is worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, and even Lakshmi Devi. But it is very difficult for someone to enjoy this intimate pastimes with the Lord. And therefore the gopis are glorifying, oh, just see how wonderful this gopi must be. And then they are seeing that some of the footprints are not visible. And then they are thinking, oh, maybe the Lord Krishna is carrying her in his arms. And then they see near a tree that only the half prints, the footprints of the Lord are not complete, they are only half. And they think, oh, maybe the Lord Krishna stood up to pluck a flower and to give her. Oh, she must be so glorious, she must be so nice. So, she is so dear to him. Krishna must have picked some flowers in the spot to satisfy Radharani. Because here he stood erect to get the flowers from the high branches of the tree, we find only half impression of his feet. So in this way, the different gopis are saying that how glorious is Srimati Radharani. Because everyone was there, but now there is only one gopi who is with Krishna. And in this way they were like expressing that how glorious is her service. Krishna is self-sufficient. He has nothing to enjoy from any other source. Yet to satisfy his devotee, he has treated Radharani exactly as a lusty boy treats his girlfriend. Krishna is so kind that he always tolerates the disturbances created by his girlfriends. So in this way, all the gopis began to point out the faults of the particular gopi who had been taken away by Krishna. So that particular gopi is none other than Srimati Radharani. And that's how, unless she be extraordinarily qualified and beautiful, how can Krishna take her away alone? She must have taken Krishna in the deep forest and told him, my dear Krishna, now I'm very tired, I cannot go any further, please carry me wherever you like. When Krishna was spoken to him in this way, he might have told Radharani, all right, better go get on my shoulder. So in this way, these gopis were kind of discussing about the glories of Srimati Radharani as how glorious she is that she is being taken away. But towards the end, Prabhupada mentions that actually all the gopis then went further and further into the forest searching out Krishna, but then learned that actually Radharani was left alone by Krishna. They became very sorry. So when they actually find Srimati Radharani, they see that Srimati Radharani is all alone here, and again there is no Krishna there. So Prabhupada writes here a very interesting point that in the beginning, although they were a little envious that only Krishna took Srimati Radharani with him, but when they saw that Srimati Radharani is also alone there, their enviousness went away, and they actually became very sorry, and they began to feel very sympathetic towards her. The gopis found Radharani and heard everything from her about how she misbehaved with Krishna and how she was proud and was insulted for her pride. After hearing all this, they became actually very sympathetic. Then all the gopis, including Radharani, began to proceed further into the forest until they could no longer see the moonlight. So, one of the things is that the mind and the intelligence of the gopis are always absorbed in Krishna. And they have, as mentioned by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shastakam, Ashri Shiva Padaratam Kanashtamam Marmatam Karotuva, Adarshanath Marmatam Karotuva. So whether the Lord is visible or is not visible, even if he makes invisible, even if he does not do darshan, even if he tramples or he does not embrace, it doesn't matter. Despite whatever Krishna does, one still loves Krishna. He is still my Lord. So sometimes in the neophyte stage, we worship Lord for a specific reason. As it is said, Artho Arthabhi Jignashu. So there is a reason. Maybe we are distressed. Maybe we need some happiness. Maybe we need some wealth. Maybe we want to be inquisitive and we want to figure out a few things. So there is an exchange that we are looking for in our devotion. Or we do a little bit of devotional service and then we may want something devotional like. Maybe a position, some kind of name, or some other form of a benefit in devotional life. But that is not the real devotional life. The real devotional life, even if Krishna gives trouble, that's how Kunti Maharani prays. Vipada Sandutta Shashvat. So there will be again and again that there will be difficulties, that the calamities come again and again. In fact, they are better because I will remember you more. We will be more dependent upon you. So in the advanced stage, we do not ask anything from Krishna. Rather, we always engage in service. And the gopis and the Radharani are the epitome of this. The gopis gave away all the familial connections. And Prabhupada says, in the Vedic culture, it is unimaginable for someone to leave their houses in the midnight. Yet, they are all willing to do anything for Krishna. But again, one should not be whimsical and sentimental about to do anything for Krishna means we can do anything. We have to go under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada as how to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So if we learn this one important principle, that we should not render devotional service in exchange for some material gain. That is very, very important. Because we cannot understand transcendental subject matter, we cannot invoke the mercy of the Lord. So one of the characteristics that is of a devotee is his akinchana. He is free from material possessions. He is not trying to have some material possessions, because if we have material possessions, we become dependent and on those possessions, and we think those are the factors which will save us. And because we are so dependent on material things, our dependency, our call out for the Lord is not so strong. our dependency on our education, our wealth, our family, and so on and so forth is so strong. And therefore, our absorption in the Lord doesn't come. And it is very important, our intent of devotional service, we must always introspect. What is the intent? We must purify our intent. We must improve our quality of services. And we have to learn to absorb our mind and hearts. So sometimes we think it is some another physical activity of one kind or the other, we just do it and we go. It is not like that. It is continuous meditation. The devotional service must become continuous meditation, where we are completely absorbed in what to do, how to do, what next. So that complete absorption in the service, because Krishna and his service are not different. And therefore in another place, Prabhupada also mentions that even if you are doing management in Lord Chaitanya's movement, that is also spiritually benefited. It does not create any reaction. So any service, when one is absorbed in it, that is spiritually, it is transcendental. So one of the things that we should all aspire today is that we should try to absorb ourselves. And we should pray to Srimati Radharani to give us that spiritual inspiration, strength to be continuously absorbed. And not to engage in devotional service for any other ulterior reason. And then we can actually get more mercy. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada's father used to tell all the saintly people who used to come to their house that let Srimati Radharani bestow her blessings upon Prabhupada. So he would ask all of them to bless that way. And even in the song that we are singing, we can see that Prabhupada says, when there is Srimati Radharani's mercy, then we can obtain Krishna's mercy. So today is a very auspicious day. Srimati Radharani is very kind, very compassionate. Another wonderful quality is not only she engages, but she wants to engage everyone else in the service of the Lord. So if we sincerely pray and if we sincerely perform our duties very nicely, we will receive more and more blessings. We are very fortunate by the blessings of Prabhupada, by the blessings of Gaur Nitai, that we are worshipping Shri Damodar here. We are very, very fortunate, and it is not an ordinary thing that we are being given this opportunity, as Prabhupada mentioned. Although one is not qualified, but by the blessings, one is engaged of Guru and Gauranga, one is engaged in the service. And as Prabhupada also says, that there are two kinds of service. One is the regulative way of service, where one performs the devotional service based on rules and regulations. And then there is the devotional service in spontaneous love. Actually, it is said that only the platform of spontaneous love one can worship Radha and Krishna. Until then, one is actually worshipping Lakshmi Narayana. So, the worship that is recommended for us is in the form of regulative devotional life, where we follow the rules and regulations. So, we have to do this aspect of rules and regulation, following the sadhana bhakti very nicely, so that we advance in our devotional life, where a day may come where we all do it spontaneously. So, it is not an easy thing to develop spontaneous love for Krishna. But that is what is being offered by the Acharyas, that perfection is possible. That Swarupa Siddhi, or the perfection of one's constitutional position, is possible by sincerely following the path that is given. But it is important that our goal is to attain that perfection, Swarupa Siddhi, not the perfection of some societal conception of recognized as a devotee or getting some form of accolades or some form of other things in devotional service. That is not the goal. And one other point we will just very quickly state before the end is that in the conversation between Rama and Karal and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a conversation about the different rasas. And in that conversation, there is a description about the 5 kinds of relationships one can have with Lord Krishna. So, the Santa, then the servant, then the parental, the friend, and the Madhurya Rasa. So, it is said that the Madhurya Rasa has all the components of all other things. The example that is given there by Ramananda Rai is that of the 5 material elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So just like in ether there is only sound, but then there is air, there is touch and sound. And fire there is form, touch and sound. In water there is haze and the remaining things. And so on and so forth. In water, in earth, there are all these components. Similarly, and there is smell. So similarly, it is said that there is a natural gradation, although all of them are transcendental relationships, but there is a gradation in the relationship that one has in one of these forms. And the Madhurya Rasa constitutes the highest relationship that one can have with the Supreme Lord, because that includes all other forms of relationships also. And Srimati Radharani is the gopis, they are all associated with the Lord in Madhurya Rasa, and amongst them Srimati Radharani is the epitome of that Madhurya Rasa and devotional service. And therefore, by praying her, we may progress more in our devotional service and further our journey towards perfection of life. We'll stop here. Srimati Radharani ki jai, Shankara Srimati Radharani ki jai.